one word: habits. If you don't assign money a place to go, it finds its own place to go. Hello, and welcome to the Impact School of Money, where the mission of the Impact School of Money is to change the way that people are educated on money, and this is episode 11. If this is the first time you're joining us for class today, the purpose of the Impact School of Money, one, is to learn real-world rules of money. Purpose two is to learn how things work in the financial world that we live in today. And purpose three is how it applies. What we want to talk about today is something that, when it comes to money, is probably the most foundational and most important thing when it comes to money, how we earn it, and really how it's going to affect our entire life, really. And that is one word: habits. Habits. And how habits affect our money. Because here's what's interesting about money. If you don't assign money a place to go, it finds its own place to go. If you don't assign money where to go, it finds its own place to go. Have you ever found that to be true? If you have money, if we haven't given it specific assignments, sometimes it tends to just disappear. And getting into the habit of paying ourselves first. A book recommendation that I would recommend if you've never read it before is The Richest Man in Babylon. A lot of the phrases and terms and concepts we use about money are used and pulled from that book. Pay yourself first, live within your means. A lot of things like that come from The Richest Man in Babylon, one of the best books written on money. It was written in the early 1900s, but a lot of the principles, well, all of the principles are still true today when it comes to money and savings and paying yourselves first. And to give you an example of why that's important and how it works, and really identifying that money just kind of finds its own place to go. When it's time to go to the grocery store, we run out of whatever it is we run out of, and we run down to the grocery store. How do we know how much money we have to spend? A lot of people will open nowadays, they'll get out their smartphone, they'll look at their app on their bank and see how much money they have. Think about the bills that are due, in the next few days or when payday is, and let's say they look at their bank and it says they have $400 and they're about to go to the grocery store and they're going to get paid in 3 or 4 days. So they look at their bank statement and it says you have $400, and so in their mind, what does their mind say? Well, their mind says, don't spend more than $400. Don't spend more than $400. Don't spend more than $400. And so somebody that's maybe single is like, how in the world would you ever spend $400 at the grocery store? And someone who's married with kids is like, wow, how do you only spend $400 at the grocery store, right? And so it depends on where we're at. But back to our story. So somebody's looking at their bank, says they have $400. As they're walking through the bank, subconsciously they're saying, don't spend more than $400, don't spend more than $400, don't spend more than $400, and so they don't, hopefully. All right, but let's say parallel universe, or at a different end of the month, they open their bank account and it says, same scenario, few days till payday, going to the store, looking at their account, it says you only have $200. What is your mind going to say at that point? Don't spend more than $200. Don't spend more than $200. Well, what really changed? I mean, you think about it. If you have $400 or $200 and you go to the store, the grocery store, to get stuff, are you going to die between now and payday with a few $100 difference? No. But what changed in the two stories? Well, let's say that in the first story, the person had not gotten into the money habit of paying themselves first. But in the second story, they had gotten in the habit of paying themselves first. That second story, the person had saved $200 when they got paid, got through all their expenses, got to the end of the month, and had $200 to go spend at the grocery store. It's a variable expense. Person number one didn't save any money, goes throughout their life and their bills and their stuff, gets towards the end of the month, has the $400 left, and will probably figure out a way to spend that at the grocery store. But then the difference, long term, is going to be that small drip going into the savings plan, that the Impact School of Money is going to have an entire section dedicated just towards savings, multiple episodes on saving and where to save short term, places to save long term, how they work, how they apply. But the biggest and most important thing is when I talk to people about money is their habits. What are their current habits? What have they done? What have they not done? Have they developed healthy money habits or unhealthy money habits? For example, if today for lunch I ran over to Pizza Hut and I ordered a large pizza and I ate the entire thing, is that, I mean, that's besides being kind of disgusting, would that, if you took my blood pressure and my height and weight and my cholesterol and all of that stuff today, this morning, right now, and I ran, to have lunch, and I ate the whole pizza, and then tomorrow morning we took my cholesterol, my height-weight ratio, all of those readings again, are we going to see a major change? No, we probably won't, because it was a one-time thing. My body is just like, what the heck was that? But what if I did that every day for a month? What if I did it every day for a year? And so sometimes people look at their money situation and they blame it on this or that or the other. There's nobody to blame but our habits. Our habits. And what our money habits are doing. If I leave on a journey, here I am, and I'm going to go on a journey up the mountain, and I take this path to go up the mountain, and there's only one destination at the end, that's where I end up. And it's because I'm on a path, right? Person number two leaves on another hike, gets on another trail that goes this way, and there's a destination at the end. A lot of the time what happens is people that get on this trail expect to end up at this destination. Well, logic says that can't happen. It can't happen. And all that matters when it comes to money, and one of the biggest things is, what are our habits? What are the things that we've developed? And it's the little things that we do over and over and over and over and over that become a lot later. It's the quote, little by little, a little becomes a lot. And so little by little, if I eat a large pizza every single day, it's going to be a big, major problem later for me in my life. But what if I ate healthy today? Let's say I wasn't eating healthy, and I ate healthy today. We took all those readings this morning. I ate super healthy all day, worked out, had an amazing day, did everything physically that I'm supposed to do, and then we took all those readings tomorrow. Is there really going to be that much of a difference? No, but if I did it over a month, a year, 2 years, we're going to see a massive, massive difference. And so here's what a lot of people do, is they look at their situation and they say, well, this saving $100 or saving $50, it's not going to make that much of a difference. True, it's not going to make that much of a difference today. But what about in 5 years? What about in 10 years? What have people's money habits been the last 5 years? They are where they are today based on the money habits that they created 5 years ago, 10 years ago, however many years ago. And so it's saving first, paying ourselves first, and getting in the habit of having good money habits. And it has to start somewhere. It's not just one day, magically it's all going to work. We just have to make a decision to start. Make a decision to start. And here's the thing to not get hung up with, and this wasn't meant to be like a motivational speech, but maybe it is that we can't go back to the start and create a new today, but we can start today and create a new finish. We can't go back to the start and create a new today, but we can start today and create a new finish. It's what path are we on? Where is it leading us? Not blaming anyone else and saying, is this the path I want to be on? If not, we need to stop. We need to go back. We need to get on a different path, fix whatever damage we've done here. Maybe going backwards is debt for, paying off some debt or creating a plan and getting on the path that we want to get on. And so a couple of ways to think about this is there are several different people that have come up with little acronyms or things to think about when it comes to money. So one of the ones that I like that kind of explains saving money in the order of importance. And so a couple of the ones that we've heard maybe is living the 10-10-80 rule. The 10-10-80 rule, which is basically giving back 10% of what we make, maybe to a charity, maybe to a church, maybe a tithe of some kind. 10% we save, pay ourselves, and then we live on 80. And again, those that are on this path will look at that and say, oh my gosh, but that's so hard. I can't save 10%. I can't give 10%. I can't not have 20%. But here's a question. If this had been your money habit from young, from 8, 9, 10 years old, and this had been the habit that you'd learned, would it be difficult to live that way? No, right? People that are on this path, that are on their way to financial independence, financial ruin, financial independence, those that are on their way to financial independence will look at this, and what's funny is their mentality about money, their money mentality looks at that and says, wow, you're only saving 10%? And it's just a difference of how we get into the habit of doing it. But then what's also interesting is what are we communicating to the universe as far as our perception of money? What our perception is of money. So, for example, Dave Ramsey. I'm pretty sure it's Dave Ramsey. He kind of says the same thing, but he says it's checking your financial height. H.Y.T. Of paying Him first, meaning God. If you believe in God, pay Him first. If you don't, then give away 10%. But you pay Him first, you second, them last. Him first, you second, them last, because that communicates who is most important in your life. So what most people will do is, and on another episode we talked about how money flows, is they'll get their paycheck and they'll pay Wells Fargo first, who has their mortgage. They'll pay Bank of America that has their car loan. They'll pay Chase that has a credit card. They'll pay their student loans. They'll pay their bills. And just like a really good quote by Warren Buffett says, don't save after spending, spend after saving, right? Spend after saving. So he says pay Him first, you second, them last. Because psychologically, again, it's communicating who's most important in my life, then who, then who. And if we're always leaving ourselves last, then that is communicating maybe what we don't want to communicate. But a lot of it, again, it just goes back to our perception of money. What is our perception of money, and where did we get our perception of money? Is our perception of money true, or is this a perception of money that someone else gave us that we adopted and that we've just continued to believe, whether it's true or not? And so some people say that money is evil. Some people say that money is, the root of all evil. Some people say that it's not all about the money. Some people will say that, money doesn't buy happiness. And so we get these things pounded in our head, but then what's interesting would be to go back and look at who created these sayings and these thought processes. And it was probably somebody that was broke, that didn't understand money, and they needed something to blame. So imagine this. Imagine you kept saying out loud and to other people that your kids and your wife were not important. that they weren't important. How long is a spouse going to stay with you if you keep saying that they're not important, they're not important, they're not important? We're going to repel that, and we're going to attract some things probably that we don't want. And so you think about that, is if we continue saying money's not important, money's not important, money's not important, could it be that money is repelling the people that say that? But then also it's a responsibility thing. People, a lot of them, I've been in the financial industry for 13 years, and a lot of people actually think that more money will solve their money problems. And it actually won't. If their habits are taking them this way, you give somebody right here a whole bunch of money, they're still on the path. They have to decide to get on the path of correct money habits before money is ever going to serve them in the way that they want it to serve them. And if more money will not solve their problems unless their habits change. So for example, do you, and I'm saying you as in people in general, if you were to ask anybody you know, what do you talk about more? Making money and saving money, or debt? What do you talk about more? Debt or making and saving money? If you were to measure the amount of time somebody talks about debt and the amount of time they talk about making and saving money, and compared it to how much debt they have and how much savings and money they make, is that some sort of random coincidence? I don't think so. But what is it that people talk the most about? Making and saving, or are they talking about debt? And I hope you can see me. I guess I didn't stop my screen share thing here. So hopefully you guys have been able to see me. Yep. Should have read that message earlier. That's okay. All right. So there we go. Maybe that's working better. So making and saving money. What we're talking about when it comes to debt, and what we're talking about when it comes to savings, right? And again, it's just a habit, and a lot of it is just changing the way that we think about money. If you keep thinking that money's evil, how has that served you so far? If you think that people that have money are lucky, and that's your thought and your perception, how has that served you so far? And that's the thing, is success leaves clues, but so does failure. Failure leaves clues and success leaves clues. When it comes to saving money, how do people that save money save it? And when it comes to not saving money, how is it that people do that? And how do we change our perception? Because the one that we give more attention to, debt or savings or earning or whatever, is kind of what gets magnified. You know, a wise man once told me that money doesn't do anything but magnify. Money magnifies. If you're a good person, think of all the good things you could do if you were blessed with more money. But again, how have we been as far as responsibilities? How have we been with our money so far? How have we been with it? Where if we've done this with our money so far, compared to doing this with our money, you know, which one do we want to magnify? And if we're on the right path, it's you know, if we just change, if all we did today and every day, the first money habit we could get into is being grateful for the money that we currently have. Being grateful. You know, somebody once told me that's why you should always pick up a penny if you see it, or a dime or a quarter, because you're communicating to the universe that money is important, that it is important, and that we can be disciplined, have good money habits, and magnify those good habits. But again, it's a decision today. If today I could be more responsible and have a more grateful heart with the money that I do receive, and I create a plan of paying myself first, no matter what it is, get in the habit of saving, maybe save more later, but get in the habit of doing it first and increase it later, start creating habits. And it might take a while, but that's okay. It might take months to get into the habit of doing it, but we have two choices. We either continue down the path we're on, and if we like where that's taking us, well, then keep doing that. If we don't, then it's time to adopt some new habits. So thank you for joining us for the Impact School of Money today, where we talked about habits, how important habits can be. Have a fantastic day. Go out there, do some good, change your habits, and change your life. Have an awesome day. Class dismissed.